It's Scotch Test Dummies. We're going to be talking about Aberlour and...
I just told you, Aberlour.
That's what I said. Aberlour and... Aberlour and coffee. You Jamaican me crazy.
Well, let's test it.
Even after I met this guy over here, I wasn't really a coffee convert. I think he even worked me over a little bit, but he worked me in subtly. He first got me hooked on tea, and next thing you know, I'm into the coffees. And he did it with what was a cool naming of a coffee. He showed up with two, carafes of, not carafes, but...
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Of Jamaican Me Crazy. Tell me more about Jamaican Me. And they did a name change, which was horrible, but they're back to Jamaican.
Yeah, well, yeah, I want to say brewery. It's not a brewery. The coffee roaster, I guess, or the company that was selling it, had a coffee out. It was a blend that they called Jamaican.
Was it a
Crazy.
Jamaican coffee?
No.
Oh, well, either way, Jamaican Me Crazy is just fun to say. Hey, what are you drinking? I'm drinking Jamaican Me Crazy. I mean, it's just hilarious. And they changed it to what?
They supposedly
caramelized toffee blend.
Yeah, there was. They ran into some problems, I guess, with the trademark, or somebody else was using Jamaican Me Crazy.
Like the country of Jamaica said, hey.
So for a while they changed up the name, and it was something. It was like hot and buttery caramel or something, creamy,
like salted butter caramel,
which is kind of the flavor.
Yeah. I remember. I'm like, "Where's Jamaican Me Crazy?" And he's like, "Same thing." I'm like, "Nope, it even tastes different."
Well, actually, the first coffee that I was buying from that company was Highlander Grog, which is actually a Scottish cream.
Yeah. It's like coffee. I feel like there's going to be a gnome coming out of somewhere.
And the second Scotch tasting that we did at my house, we had made a pot and we had the Highlander Grog there. We were also having afterwards. We went through. We had the Scotch tasting, had the finger foods, and then we had Highlander Grog.
So he's my crack dealer with coffee.
So anyway, I bought Bart a package of Jamaican Me Crazy because he liked it, whole bean coffee, and I gave it to him.
He did.
And one day, I get a text from Bart with a picture. And he's got his coffee maker out.
Yes.
He's got his grinder out.
That coffee maker hadn't been out in years. That coffee maker was for when guests would arrive that had to have coffee. And I just wanted to be a good host, so we had the maker, but I never drank coffee. So I pull it out, and it's beans. It's not even, I thought it was grounds. It's beans. And I'm like, what do I do with this? He's like, grind it up. I'm like, with what, man? He goes
No, you sent me the picture with everything. You're like, how do I make it?
Yeah.
And I was just like, you're dumb.
No,
I'm not even.
Well, I'm a Scotch Test.
You don't know how to make coffee.
Well, no. Here's the deal. You give me the grinds. I think I even have a grinder in here for something, but I never used it.
You had the grinder.
Yeah, I never used it.
You went to Dillon's and bought it.
I bought a grinder. That's right. I bought a grinder so I would have it. But then it didn't say how many beans you put in, and then it was like if you do fine ground, then you want half a scoop. If you do rough ground, then you do a full scoop. I'm like, what's the deal? There's nothing to measure the grinding on here. What do I do? So I ask him for help, and then my crack dealer leaves me high and dry. He's like, whatever, figure it out. I'm like, what?
It's not that hard.
He's like, test it. He's mocking me. I'm like, what is this? What are you doing?
It's called trial and error.
Yeah, but I was jonesing for. Well, yeah, but he tells me they don't even make that anymore. Don't mess it up. And then I was all stressed. I'm like, what am I doing? So I just put it away. It's still sitting in the cabinet.
No, it's like 4 years old now.
But I will I'm sure it's not good anymore, but I'll give you this. Then I'm over at my mom's and she goes, hey, I got this new Kegel machine.
Yeah.
And she goes,
Keurig?
That might have been it. What's a Kegel?
Kegel exercises?
Yeah, I may know what those are too, but I swear she said a Kegel machine. That would be disgusting. So yeah, it was
You wouldn't want to use your mom's Kegel machine if she had one.
No, sir. Yeah, I actually mentioned that to him, and he goes, "It's a Keurig." Kegel's a whole nother deal. I'm like, ooh, it is. That does not a pretty picture make.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was these little miniature cups, and it makes a single cup of coffee. But it was a Keurig. What?
Keurig.
It's a Keurig, but made by Mr. Coffee, apparently, and he said they sold out. Sorry.
And then we go to Starbucks once in a while at work, and he's got to get his...
Sidebar story. One day he comes up and goes, you want to go to Bucks? And I'm like, What is this, like a hunting store? What are you talking about? Bucks.
Hardware
You want
store,
to go
what do you
to
mean?
Bucks? Where are we going to go hunting? I mean, what are we doing? He's like, Starbucks. I go, nobody shortens Starbucks down to Bucks, dude. And then there happened to be like a different company hanging out with us at the time. I go, hey, dude, you want to go to Bucks? He's like, what's that? I go, Starbucks. He's like, nobody calls it Bucks. I'm like, bingo.
Bucks.
Now we call it Bucks because
he's on board now.
well,
Bucks.
we've got our own code. No one else knows where we're going. You want to go to Bucks? Sure.
Oh yeah, that's hard
We
to
go
figure
hang out
out.
there. It is. Nobody knows.
Cracking the code.
True. So what are we talking about? Aberlour. So
Aberlour.
Aberlour. Sorry, I'm
Aberlour.
gonna keep saying it wrong.
A'bunadh.
Apparently the dummies are trying to crawl into it here. Let's remove said dummy.
Aberlour A'bunadh, which I realized I thought A'bunadh. That's a strange word. It's Gaelic for origin, but A'bunadh. It's almost like the F word.
No.
In that there's many uses for the F word. It can be out of surprise, it can be out of disappointment, it can be out of shock,
Passion.
And I thought the same with
Lust.
A'bunadh. A'bunadh.
I don't think so. That was like Japanese. It was like
A'bunadh.
well, this is the space side.
You
Let's
could even
open it up.
whisper it.
How many?
A'bunadh.
A'bunadh's a good whisper. How many? How old?
A'bunadh.
Thought I actually shocked you.
There's a lot of uses for A'bunadh.
Once again, look at this. Good packaging. Foam top.
Now, A'bunadh is a great Scotch. I've had this in the past, and this was the first bottle that I had.
Look at that.
I brought just for comparison because they make these in batches. The first bottle that I had, and it's marked on the bottle, was batch number 40. Current batch, we're up to number 46. And they also mark the alcohol content. Now this is cask strength. My prior bottle was 60% alcohol, which is pretty stinking high.
Now how the heck?
This current one is 60.4. So they do range in the alcohol content. It's a wax seal. Yeah, you just
Once you
gotta
get it.
peel it off of there.
Now this is first of all, I love their bottling. The
What'd you do
bottling is
to
a
it?
very nice. Nothing. That's what it was sitting on.
Just
it
like
had
that?
no lip. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. It's supposed to have a little flap or something. I love their packaging. It's kind of got an old world feel to it, and has real thick wax top on it. And the bottle itself is nothing fancy, but I love the rich. It's got like a rich maple color to it that's just gorgeous.
A'bunadh.
All right.
All right.
Technical difficulties are over. There's a heck of a wax seal on this baby.
There was, yes. Now, Aberlour A'bunadh could also be a greeting. A'bunadh.
He's gone over the side
Keep
of the
coming up with
cliff.
stuff. Or when you're leaving.
maybe I-
A'bunadh.
Yeah.
A'bunadh.
You A'bunadh and pour that darn thing.
Now, A'bunadh is strictly from Sherry Oloroso
wax on
butts. That's the only thing that this has been in. It is a very,
Oloroso butts.
yes, very strong with the sherry. The dark fruits, a very raisin, plum flavor. Try it neat. Try it neat and see what you
I
think.
want you go neat. I want to bring out some of these flavors, some of these aromas.
It is very dark. It has picked up so much color from the sherry butts. And the sherry butts are a little bit bigger, correct, than a standard cask.
Yes, they are.
I believe they are like 55 gallon. A standard cask is 50 or 52 gallon, and a
Right.
sherry butt is
I don't even
55
remember.
gallon.
I wanted to say 55, but I've been known to be wrong. I'm getting a dark fruit
Yes.
aroma.
A plum jumped right out at me. Sherry smells good.
I get a. It was real subtle at the start, and I'm going to try it again in a second here to pick it up. But it ends with a. It had a lingering, nutty, woody taste to it, and a little bit of that of a dark plum or raisin fruit that it still tails out. So this has a little bit of that aftertaste that I'm usually used to only lingering with a smoky. Space side, but this is interesting because it's definitely got a fruity finish to it.
The first time that I bought this, and I usually add a splash of water to my scotch. I had added my splash of water. I tasted it. Still a little strong. I added another splash, and still a little strong. And it took quite a bit more water than I was used to get it to where it was palatable for me. I get a very good raisin, a dark, that plum, almost a chocolate.
Yeah.
Sherry.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the chocolate, because I get that almost like a roasted cocoa kind of flavor to it that underlies the fruitiness.
I love the color of it that it picked up from the sherry. And I like the sherry, a lot of the scotches that have been aged in the sherry casks.
You know, you want to get that in between the gums and on your palate. It's tasty. I mean, it's got a very rich flavor. It's got a nice texture on the mouth feel. Yeah, and again, just it keeps lingering back to the darker fruits with a little bit of that chocolate feel to it.
Now there's some online scuttlebutt, you could call it, about earlier batches of the A'bunadh. And that is that the early batches of the A'bunadh are better than the newer batches. Maybe a very fine palate could discern that.
Now, is that just because there's such a demand that they're putting more of it out?
So, but that's some of the argument. Yeah, the demand for scotches nowadays has created that they're basically, they want to pump it, get it out, as quick as they can to make money. So, but this is still a delicious scotch. If this is worse than earlier batches, I would like to try some of the earlier batches. My palate, I don't think, is fine enough to discern the differences. Maybe it is. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. This is definitely the scotch that's more up your alley than mine. This is good, but this I would think would be one of your favorites right off the bat. If you were to give it like a score, I don't know, 1 through 100, what would you say? Kind of like a typical scotch rating.
I hate to get into that, but 90. It's up there.
See, for me, I mean, again, neither of us is probably actually, I feel almost like I shouldn't give a score to it, but some people have asked in the comments. For me personally, it's fine. It's not my favorite brand, but that's not what we're doing. I would put it at like 85 or an 86.
That's still good.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I like it. I mean, you're talking, it fits a very nice niche. And if I was, actually it's niche if you pronounce it right. Yeah. So, just since he's the Gaelic god. The Gaelic god of pronunciation.
Yeah, get back to your Kegel. Go get on the Kegel machine.
Hey, did you make some coffee in that Kegel maker over there? Well, I sure did. This is some of the best Kegel coffee I've ever had. Meanwhile, there's someone like 2 doors down, like passing out from laughter or disgust. Like, he keeps calling it Kegel coffee. What kind of coffee is that? I've heard of the stuff that comes out of the monkey. What's Kegel coffee like? Sorry, I digress. Good stuff. It really fits that niche with the Oloroso Sherry butt. So, Scotch Test Dummies.
A'bunadh.
Salancha. Gaelic god.